What's up, my people? How you doing? So I was actually watching a live stream just a few minutes ago. I was watching Mr. Guns and Gears live stream, and I decided, you know what? What the heck? My wife's at a concert right now. I have nothing else to do. So I just got back from the range. I haven't showered yet. I haven't wound down for the night yet. Why don't we do a live stream? What the heck? So that's what we're doing. So this is 100% on you guys. Ask away, questions from the audience answered. I was doing a live show on Facebook for a long period of time, and while I really, really like the interface on Facebook, it just wasn't drawing the attention that I wanted it to draw. I'm a few minutes early, so real quick, I'm going to make a quick post. I'm going to make it on the Instagram. So give me just a second. Let me take a photo for Instagram here. As ugly as possible. Yes. We'll just throw that up there real quick. Be sure to be pushing this out. Send it out to your friends. Make sure you populate the chat over there in the side. Go ahead and start asking questions, and we'll get started. So here we're gonna use tech. Live show. Ooh, pick me up early. Live show started over on the YouTube channel. Bingo. Gotta love it. All right. Good job, guys. Chat started. We'll just start at the top. Let's see here. I did meet some of you guys at NRA Dallas. I see somebody saying that over there. And yes, it was great to meet everybody who attended the show. That's why I attend that show, is because I don't usually get to hang out with you guys at the other industry shows. Absolutely. Thank you for all my Ohio viewers. Obviously, we had some issues here in Ohio the last couple of days. We have to band together, make sure that we're paying attention to what's going on at the State House. Make sure that we're up on it and are cohesive. I always say that us Ohioans don't have like a super strong gun culture like you see in a lot of other states. And what I mean by that is everybody's got guns, and we just assume that everybody thinks like us. It isn't until you really kick the bear here in Ohio that people show up. So some of our rallies under the last administration, under the dude that will not be named, were huge rallies, and it was quite impressive. But it takes somebody doing something to really activate the Ohio gun culture, which is one of those unfortunate things. But it's fairly strong here. It's just not as prolific as you see in some places like, Tennessee, Kentucky. Those areas have much more overt communities, if you will. So back to it. Somebody asks, are you coming to the next Big 3 East? I'm not entirely sure. I don't know when it is. Last I heard that they were going to be doing that event once a year. So I don't know if they're doing it twice a year. I definitely can't swing one the rest of the year if they're having it. So I don't know if that's the case. But yeah, absolutely. Did I remember to turn on the super chat? I don't know if I turn on super chat or not. Not super important. But if you have a question that's let me know if it's working. I don't even know if I turned it on. But let's see here. Big threes. Is this a real gun channel or a parody channel? No, this is a real gun channel. And actually, it's not even a gun channel. What I do for work is I test people's guns. And that's what I do. And I go out and make videos from that testing. Now, I obviously film some things to kind of like ligate the video together to make it something that I can present to you guys. But yeah, this is just me all the time. So the parody thing that you're hitting at, yeah, this is me being a jackass all the time. This is not me playing a character on the internet. So you can say, yeah, it's a little off the cuff, but that's just the way I roll. So if you don't like it, too bad. let's see. I'm going to start leaving my mouse where I was because because sometimes, oh wow, I'm way behind. Sorry. Yeah, unfortunately, they won't let you post links in this thing. I am looking at some other software to make this a little bit better. I know some of the other guys are using a different software to run their live chats. I'm not super happy with the interface here at YouTube, but we just get more reach doing the live shows here on YouTube than we do on Facebook. That's just the way it goes. I require some shrubbery. Mr. Tactical Bacon checking in from across the country. Good for him. It's funny. Let's see. Why aren't there any? Somebody asked, why aren't there many training classes out there for those of us who are disabled? I'm in a wheelchair and I'm trying to figure out self-defense things. Well, I would say that a quality instructor will know how to cater to your disability. And disability, I don't really even like that word, but you use disabled, so I'm going to use disabled. Most of them, if they're a quality instructor, will cater to your needs. And if they don't, then they're a poor instructor and you know not to go back there again. But if you are researching these classes and you find a quality instructor, they should be able to teach you whether you have one leg, both legs, no legs, one arm, two arms, no arms, doesn't matter. So you should be able to be out there and you should be able to find that. I'm telling you that they're out there. They may not advertise it. And the reason why is, to be honest, most people, the majority of their clientele, probably don't have those disabilities. But if you look at it, you might find a disclaimer on their website that says that they will cater. You just have to, you might have to do some digging. So is this squeaky chair really bothering you guys? Let me know if you guys can hear that or if I need to stand up. I found out my monitor raises up today. So it's been so long since I installed it, I forgot that it goes up and down. So I've been doing all the live chats like this. So let's see, where are we at? Love the Ballistic Advantage stuff. I love the Ballistic Advantage stuff. We have some announcements coming about some stuff that we're doing with Ballistic Advantage. So stay tuned on that. It's going to be really important. So if you like Ballistic Advantage, you'll like what's coming. Absolutely. So, oh, wow. I am so far behind. I'm going to apologize. I'm just going to go with the ones that I see. So I'm not sitting here trying to figure out where I'm at. If I miss you, just repost it. It'll be fine. Somebody says, any thoughts on the SIG Virtuous? Why no Silencer Co. on the channel? Love you. Love your videos, man. We need more Wombat. I'm trying to get Wombat to do more. He's always doing the I work thing, and I can't make it out type thing, which is always a problem. The SIG Virtuous, I have not got any contacts at SIG. I'm not super happy with the way they've been doing their quality control. And to be honest, I really like the concept of the 365 that's out there. Unfortunately, I look at that thing and I see one major flaw that I haven't seen pointed out anywhere, and that is the barrel and the slide don't seal right there. I can literally see the next bullet, the next cartridge through the frame, or not through the frame, in the frame, in the magazine, between, or the gap between the barrel and the slide. And I don't know about you guys, I'm very linty. Like my lint trap, when I pull it on my washer, is always full. So that gun will not work for me. So I know everybody loves that gun, but I just haven't been super happy with the quality control. So I haven't really dug into the SIG line very much. A person from SIG can absolutely call me and we can put something on the schedule. I'd love to try it out. But as far as I'm concerned, I used to be a super duper SIG fanboy, and you can pretty much say that I'm not really there anymore. I really hate the MPX. Sorry. Everybody likes the MPX too, but I just don't think that they have a good track record. So Silencer Co. Why no Silencer Co. on the channel? Really, the bottom line is I don't think that they've done a whole lot of innovation over the last couple of years. Again, they're welcome to call me and they're welcome to show me their new stuff, but I haven't seen a whole lot. And there's also some political stuff that has happened behind the scenes that I'm just not at liberty to discuss, because the information that has been passed to me has come from a single source that would be easily identifiable if I said anything about it. So I'm just not going to throw my contacts under the bus. Just know that there are certain things that happen that are behind the scenes that, taken out of context, can be a bad thing. And in this case, we have something that happened, and no matter what the context, is a bad case. So I'm just not going to air somebody else's dirty laundry, and that's just not something that I do here. So beside the point. Sorry. If you go to a concert, you would think that you would pay attention to the concert instead of texting your husband. But hey, gotta love the girl. Let's see. Somebody says, if you're ever back in Florida, hit me up. I got some new steel I would love for you to check out. If you're referring to steel targets, we do steel through shootsteel.com. They're my friends, and I consider them family. So while I would be willing to see if you got any cool new designs, not something I'm not going to go out of my way to go check out another steel company unless you've got something insane, like it senses where the bullets hit or something like that. Sorry. Let's see. Do you see our country close to destabilization and the possibility of an internal war? I want to avoid it. We must stop dividing our country on from both parties. And I think that you got the answer right there. And that is that, unfortunately, we have no friends, is what it really breaks down to. Is it seems these days that every side comes at us. And you saw it recently, and we kind of said that Donald Trump was a lifelong liberal and that he didn't really have two-way principles. And I think you can see this in all of his policy moves. He's basically led around by the National Rifle Association, which we also know doesn't have real two-way principles. One person that I was really upset to see red flag rhetoric from was Dan Crenshaw of Texas. I thought that, Navy SEAL, Texan, yeah, got it in spades. And he's talking that he wants to see red flag law. So I don't even know what to think about that. It's unfortunate, and it's really easy to feel like we have no friends, but know that everybody here is likely your friend. So that's why it's important that we continue to keep up the community that we have built over the last several years. If you're not in the discussions that happened in the comment section, those are great places to meet people as well. So if I've seen it happen all the time where somebody's like, hey, I go to this range here, and people of like mind get together and they go have a good time. They forge internal communities. So that is something that we cannot discount. We have to make sure that we are communicating with those that have the same principles that we do, so that when stuff does go sideways, like introduction of new legislation, things like that, we can peaceably assemble and do our part to make sure that it doesn't go to something crazy like an internal conflict. That's something we obviously want to avoid. And I think that anybody who's done any sort of research on those kind of occurrences that happen in other countries will tell you that either they've seen it firsthand or they've researched it, that it is not something that we want to happen here. But hands are tied. Somebody says they can never trust 65. Yeah, I don't know. Dude, clean your stuff once a week. If you had any idea how much how much cleaning it would take to make that happen, you would have no idea. I almost need to hire somebody. I thought about hiring an intern, like somebody who's like between high school and like college or something like that, somebody on their summers where they could come in and be like, hey, I'm going to teach you a valuable skill. I'm going to teach you how to clean guns and like pay them nothing, like pay them in experience. And so I can give them a reference on the resume or something like that, and just unload a pile of guns on them. Obviously, they'd be like 18 years old, so I couldn't leave them unattended with like the handguns or anything. But yeah, man, I tell you what, especially ARs. And I'm going to tell a story really quick that I don't know that I've ever told on this channel. Mr. Tactical Bacon, I see him in the chat again. He was on deployment, and he was basically sitting there. And this is before he was married, so that means that he had plenty of money and an internet connection, and was overseas, and was basically bored. And he was just buying gun parts, and he was sending them to my house. This is before I had an FFL or anything like that. He was just sending them to me, and he's just like, yeah, put them together. Because I sent him an email. We were like, dude, I got like $500, you know, $1,000 worth of gun parts today. What is this for? And he's like, yeah, I just put them together and put them in my safe. Well, I had a really busy summer, so I went, and he had sent me probably like 5 or 6 AR-15s worth of parts. And what I did was I was shooting my guns like every single day, to the point where they would just stop running periodically. So I took the carriers and the charging handles out of the guns and sprayed the action out with the hose. And then I took the carriers that were seized up, and I took the brand spanking new carriers out of his guns and put them in mine, and then took my dirty carriers and put them in there. And I completely forgot about it. So he comes home like 6 months later, and he's like, dude, did you shoot my guns? And I'm like, no, I never fired your guns once. Not a single time did I put a single round down one of your pipes. I just borrowed your carriers. And he's like, well, were you going to clean them? No intentions of doing that whatsoever. So sometimes it just gets really busy, and I don't have time to clean. Like today, I was out on the range for 4 hours today. I went to the gym, and I had a meeting at the bank, and I did everything that you do with keeping up a house, like mow the lawn, all that sort of stuff. I did the dishes earlier. Like, they're just things that have to happen every day. And when you've got like 6 hours of range time built into a day, it tends to eat it up rather quickly. So it's like one of those things, hey, cleaning guns may fall by the wayside. And that's one of the things that I think some people really gravitate towards the testing that we do, because I have no intentions of cleaning your gun while it's here. If I have to clean your gun while it's here for testing, unless it's like a 5,000 round test or something like that, then if I have to clean it to keep it running, you might rethink your gun a little bit. So let's get back to the chat here. You guys are awesome. You guys are just knocking it out of the park tonight. Let's see. Bro, I shoot an SVD 40 with a corrosive ammo three years ago and didn't clean it. Haven't pulled it out since. I'm kind of scared. So cleaning on corrosive ammo is very, very simple. I'm not, just because I don't clean doesn't mean that I don't know how to clean. Cleaning using corrosive ammo is very easy. One of the main culprit of damage to your gun when you've got corrosive ammo is the salts that are produced from the primer and sometimes the propellant as well. So it's really simple. You just pour some hot water. You open the action up, take the components out, pour hot water all over it, like a pan full or something like that. Maybe repeat if it's really dirty, and then you can grease the thing up and throw it back in the thing. But even if you don't grease it afterwards, you should at least take the components out before you put it back in the safe and pour the hot water down it, because what that's going to do is grab all those salts and wash them down the sink or down the drain or whatever, and they won't be deposited inside of your critical components, and they won't eat them alive. So that's really important. You should absolutely do that for your Russian guns if you care about them, if you're going to shoot corrosive ammo. I also suggest doing the same thing for your 22s, because depending on where the ammunition was manufactured, the priming compound can be different from time to time, and the priming compound may also produce salts when it's in there. That's one of the reasons that typically you see 22 silencers being user serviceable, because a lot of that stuff can cake up inside there, and typically the ammunition is produced by the lowest bidder. So the quality of the components may not also be very good. So you may get a fair amount of dirt, and there is, especially on 22 Magnum, a lot of filler And even in like some higher grade ammo, you see some filler in there. So that stuff can kick up pretty quick. So yeah, a quick spritz with like boiling water or near boiling water, pretty good. If you want to get fancy, you can put some Dawn dish soap in there and go to town, and that'll keep you from corroding your barrel and the critical components. So, and now for like AR-15s and stuff like that, the gun's mostly aluminum anyway. You can pretty much run those till they quit. I usually use an ultrasonic cleaner, take the bolt carrier out, throw it in an ultrasonic cleaner. Don't put your aluminum components in an ultrasonic cleaner. That's not good. But you can throw those like the bolt carrier group in there and clean it off real quick. And usually a little bit of scraping towards the back of the bolt, and you're up and running again. Check your gas range, check your extractor, throw it back in there, and you're ready to rock and roll. Usually, if I need to quick clean an AR-15, I'll pull the bolt, scrape the crap off of it, off the teeth, throw it right back in there. I don't even use a chamber brush or anything like that unless it gets 5, 6, 7,000 rounds approximately there. Then we need to start talking about a chamber brush. The rest of the time, I mean, probably 2,000 to 3,000 rounds on the bolt carrier group before it needs like really cleaned. Longer if you just keep filling it with lube as you use it. So. Good one. Nice put me on a tangent there. Unlike the NRA, what are your thoughts of the organizations such as the GOA, Second Amendment Foundation, and Firearms Policy Coalition, who are doing the heavy lifting of the hard fight? Is I think what he meant to say. Yeah. So all three of those organizations, great. The people I see posting the most are the Firearms Policy Center. I don't know if that's reality or if that's just what the interweb has fed me, but those are the people that I see doing the most social media activity, which may or may not be indicative of what they're doing. I do know the GOA does spend a lot of money. So I think that those groups are absolutely awesome. I would really like to see the National Rifle Association unscrew themselves and get LaPierre out of there because they are a lightning rod. They're the one that comes up in the anti-gunner's mind. They pay free rent inside the minds of people like Dianne Feinstein. So that is valuable. But right now I can't support them because they are just totally effed up. So let's see. What's your favorite lever action? I'm looking for something chambered in 357. So I don't, can I talk about this? I can't talk about that. So what I will say is that I use the Henrys. And usually when I use a lever gun, it's a hunting rifle. So I'm not really super concerned about the tactical, like, loading gate on the side, but they just came out with the loading gate on the rifles, and I actually have one of the 3030s down in the vault right now. So I'm excited about that. I'm waiting. We're actually going to be doing a cool collaborative project with both Henry and XS, where we're going to be playing with their sights to see if we can make a sight to fit on the Henrys to be more conducive to that like fast shooting, like up close thing. So I'm really excited about that. But what's really neat, I think, is that they do plan to come out with a lot more calibers in those side loaders. They just came out with like the easy ones. And what a lot of people don't realize is that complicates the action. It really does to put that loading gate on there because the Henry is a very thin receiver. I wish I knew that question was going to come up. I could have gone downstairs and got one. The receiver on a Henry is much thinner because it doesn't have to accommodate that round coming in and then having to home itself into the tube versus the ones with the loading gate have to be dimensionally larger to accommodate that. So it'll be interesting to see where they take it. I do believe 357 is going to be coming. I would really like to see them come out with threaded barrel models because, man, I tell you what, lever guns suppressed are sweet. So let's see. Lever gun. Oh boy, it just reset. The chat just caught up. Oh man, that was like 50 comments. Sorry guys. So if I missed you, I apologize. What's wrong with using Windex to scrub the rifle bore? So Windex typically has ammonia in it, and ammonia is a base, and a base can be just as destructive as an acid. Typically, people say, "Oh, it's acidic." Yeah, but vinegar is acidic. So a base is on the opposite side of the acid, and it can do damage as well. But the real thing about ammonia, when you use it in your bore, is when you mix it around in there and allow it to sit, it can combine with some of the particulate that's in there and start leaching out other salts that are in there, and you can get ammonium salts. So ammonia, and then ammonium would be the ionic form of ammonia. So it's associated with another ion that allows it to live in salt form. And basically what that can do is ammonia is a gas actually that's bubbled through and can be suspended in solution. It smells really nasty. Ammonium can live in a solid state inside of your barrel. Do not use Windex to clean your barrel or your components. It's not a good thing. Can I come to your house if the Civil War starts? I'll bring Oreos. Actually, don't let my wife know, because she may absolutely start like charging people by the size of the quantity of Oreos that you come supplied with, because she is a cookie fanatic. Don't get me wrong, I like an Oreo every once in a while, clearly. But my house is actually like made of solid concrete. So I'm actually getting it underwritten right now. And I'm kind of, it was cool because people always remark when they see it that it's like, you would literally need ordnance to take it down. And they were originally going to tear it down. And because it was kind of a shanty house and it needed redone. And I'm like, one, it's a piece of history. Do not destroy that thing. And basically the way it was built, people were saying things when I did the vault video about it's not made of solid concrete. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. It's made of laminated concrete, which is a solid piece of concrete, an air gap, and then another solid piece of concrete. And the pieces of concrete are about that thick, approximately. It's all I could do to get my hand around one when we were putting some walls in and tearing some walls out and putting in doors and things. It's all I could do to grip one. So what that does is make it really energy efficient and very, very robust. And the reason it was built that way is it was built in the 40s. And the reason why is because we didn't have any lumber at the time to make new houses, because they were turning all the trees into Garans to go shoot Nazis in the face with them. So I was like, we can't tear the place down. But besides, what would you tear it down with? I mean, I guess I could call USA Chemical Supply and they could bring down like 100,000 pounds of binary explosive and we could do it. But other than that, I mean, you're going to burn up so many bearings and all the hydraulics on all the machines around here would be destroyed if we tried to tear this place down. Anyway, let's see. Ammonia also ruins wood. Yes. I mean, and this is not a hard, fast rule. If it will eat the metal of your gun, chances are it will likely also eat the wood of your gun. So that's also a thing. Ammonia, because it's basic, can eat the actual like lacquer on the wood, and it basically allows the lacquer to go into solution. So it's not good to let that sit there. It can compromise the surface finish. All of that. Do not use Windex to clean your guns, please. Let's see. Best bang for the buck 308 scope for a single bolt action rifle. I'm headed out to get some 300 meter plus shooting in. That's a good question, because I don't actually know currently what models have been released and which ones have just been announced. I got to look at some of the really nice Trijicon stuff that they were coming out this year. Night Force is always a really good, safe bet for those. Now, if you're looking more budget friendly, you can get a fairly decent scope from Primary Arms. Put it in a good mount, and people will be, oh, Primary. They designed the ACSS reticle, the one that everybody bought and put in their scope. So I like those if you're going a little bit more budget friendly. But if you've got some coin to spend and if you want to buy once, cry once, the Trijicons and the Night Force are always a safe bet. Doc swears by Leopold. I don't like names that I don't know how to say. But I think they're a little bit behind the time. They were really, really good before the whole trickle-down weaponomics thing started happening. And I just expect a little bit more out of my optics these days. So if it doesn't have ballistic drop compensation in it, I don't want to even look at it. Now, I think Leopold has responded and has come back with some of those things. I've just in the past have not been super impressed, and I don't know anybody at Leopold. They can call me at any point in time. At any point in time, if a firearms company or a firearms related manufacturer wants to call us and have us test their stuff, my door is wide open. There's only a couple exceptions to that rule. If your name is Springfield Armory, you're not welcome here. If you are Rock River Arms, you are not welcome here. If you're any of those companies that have done anything like that, like what those companies have done, try to get a carve out for themselves while screwing their constituents in their states, I have a zero tolerance policy for that. That is unacceptable. It will not be seen here. As far as I'm concerned, those companies don't exist and they're out of business. So you either have 2A principles or you do not. And I, again, have a zero tolerance policy for that. At any point in time, if you haven't participated in that kind of activity, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to see the new stuff that you're putting out there so we can put it through its paces so we can get an idea of what it can do, what it can't, and how we can make it do what the consumer wants it to do. Let's see. Thinking of doing a heavy caliber pistol build, 308 or 50 Beowulf, what caliber barrel length would you recommend? This one, I like this one. So I have a absolute hard-on for the short barrel 308s. And the reason why I'm saying do 308 versus 50 Beowulf is 50 Beowulf is really expensive. It's really expensive to shoot. And for the amount that you're going to spend on 50 Beowulf, you can buy a buttload of 308. And you have access, when you shoot 308, you have access to precision rifle ammunition and blasting ammo. You can go out and get a big crate of M80 ball for a fraction of what you can get a crate of 50 Beowulf. And it's a real rifle cartridge that has been optimized for that. 50 Beowulf, while I do like the fact that it kind of fits in the AR-15 body instead of the AR-10 body, if you're gonna do a caliber that is a step up, if you're gonna go the big bore, if you want to go above 30 caliber, then my favorite is 458 SOCOM. And even though it is expensive, it is a little bit more mainstream than something like 50 Beowulf. And the reason why I think that 50 Beowulf has fallen off a little bit is really because the dude who is behind it, Bill Alexander from Alexander Arms, I think he divested from his company. So he's not doing a whole lot of that innovation anymore. And he's an amazing person. There was a lecture that I attended once, and I consider myself a relatively intelligent human being. This dude is so smart I couldn't even figure out what we were talking about for like the first 10 minutes of what his lecture was about. He like literally broke into the middle of something that I wasn't really up on. And I didn't realize that we were talking about 300 Blackout until I literally held the prop that he brought with him that was being passed around the room. And then I realized, oh, wow, we're talking about 300 Blackout and the stuff that he did with it. The man's a genius. He works on both sides of the gun, the ammunition and the rifle. Unfortunately, I believe that he is no longer doing, he's no longer working in the same capacity at Alexander Arms. So I've seen a lot of the stuff that he has done kind of like falling away a little bit, which is unfortunate because I really liked 50 Beowulf. I thought he was doing great stuff with it, but again, it's fallen off a little bit. So 458 SOCOM though is here to stay, and I tell you what, there are some excellent guns in 458 SOCOM. So, but personally speaking, I would say if you wanted a gun that you can go out, have fun with, and is like your battle rifle pistol thing, like a 13-inch, 13.5, 14-inch, 308 in a pistol, man, I tell you what, Don Numbers had one, formerly of Tactical Response, had one, and he had it out there with an AAC can on the end of it, and I was shooting standing, and I was hitting the 400-yard target with an aim point micro. Gotta love it. Anyway, we beat that one to death. Do you have any experience with 14.5-inch mid-length guns? So mid-length guns were built to be that middle ground. So initially, basically what happens is if you've got a carbine link gas system and you run it without a suppressor on it, and you've got a standard buffer weight or maybe an H1 or something like that, that gun's going to run fine. It's going to be fine. It's not going to beat itself to death or anything like that. And don't listen to what they write on the internet. If the gun is made properly, a carbine link gun is going to be great. And what ends up happening is they get dirtier faster, but because they have more impulse, the gun will run hotter when it's clean, like as in faster, the bolt speed will be faster and all that sort of stuff. But then once it gets dirty, it will run like a mid-length gas system is clean, and it will run longer dirty. So you can take a carbine length out there that's built properly, and you can run 4,000 rounds through it without cleaning it. And yeah, every once in a while you might have a little bit of an issue here or there. The magazines probably need cleaned as well, and you can do that, and it will be fine. The mid-length is more of that intensive gun. Once the mid-length gets dirty, you can start to have some issues. It can start to have some serious functionality issues. You probably 1,000 to 2,000 rounds on that gun before it will stop. The thing that a mid-length gas system gives you that a carbine doesn't is if you throw a suppressor on the end of that carbine gun, you're probably going to need a heavier buffer. And that's really what it comes down to. You're going to need an adjustable gas block or a heavier buffer, or maybe even both, to make it not have excessive carrier speed to the point where it's overrunning itself and potentially even damaging itself. So those are things that you have to keep in mind with those guns. That's what the mid-length gun is for. Now, as far as the 14.5 inch is concerned versus the 13 or the 16 inch, there's not really a whole lot of difference there. And what you're really talking about is the dwell time, and it's really not that much. So suppressed or unsuppressed, the 14.5 inch one's probably going to be fine. Let's see. I have no experience with the Acro from Aimpoint, unfortunately. I just a disclaimer also, there's so much stuff that comes in that I don't have time to chase it all down. So I actually hired somebody to do some of that sort of stuff for me. They're a third party. You see me wear their hat all the time. It's the Leviathan Group. They In fact, I think I even have one of their stickers here that I might be able to show you guys that's on the side of my, see it? Maximum effort. So they do some of that hunting for me. So what I can do is when something like that, when an inquiry comes up like that I don't have a contact, like I don't know, like Jimmy at such and such company, I say, hey, go dig somebody up at aim point. And that's how that happens. So I will put that on my list of things to do. So somebody asks, best 300 Blackout barrel length to suppress, and is it okay to use just a fixed gas block? I'm going to tell you no on the gas block, and here's the reason why. You really should run an adjustable gas block, and the reason why is because 300 Blackout is so versatile. There's such a wide range of pressure and power factors that we have to consider when we're shooting 300 Blackout, that you may want to shoot 110 grain ammo that's zipping out there. You may want to go shoot that stuff for like coyotes or something like that. And that's going to run one way versus if you want to shoot the subs. If you want to suppress the gun and shoot the super quiet stuff for like, I have neighbors that live relatively close, and I shoot 220 grain 300 Blackout off my porch all the time, and it doesn't bother them a bit. Versus if I were to shoot the 110 grains, I just feel that it's, especially because I have a range, it is not considerate on my part to have that supersonic crack out there while they have kids playing in the yard and stuff like that. I can shoot 220 grain 300 Blackout off my porch, and they don't even look up. So to do that, though, effectively, you're going to want to dial that back down. I really, really do suggest that you run an adjustable gas block on your 300 Blackouts. I know they cost more money. I'm a big, and they don't pay me to say this, Superlative Arms does an excellent job on their adjustable gas blocks. Go look at them. They do a really good job. Their gas block is a venting gas block, though, that vents into the ambient space. I made a video about this. So that will give you a little bit of pop there at the front. So just keep that in mind. But even though it is a venting block, it is my suggested block because it just does a really good job. I've not had one come apart on me or rattle apart. Sometimes the ones that just have a little screw in the end can be a problem. So just keep that in mind. Now, barrel length, I'm a shorty junkie, so I really like my guns to be short when they've got a can on the end of it because they're super heavy. If you're going to run full powered ammo out of a thing, you're better off running a little bit longer barrel, like a 14 or something like that, to get maximum powder burn. But if you intend to shoot nothing but subsonic ammunition out of it, then that 8-9 barrel is going to be fine. Somebody says, I'm thinking 458 SOCOM, what would be optimum? Optimum, to be honest, is the CMG gun, the Anvil. It's expensive, though. So just a heads up, everybody who shot one of those things will tell you that it is built properly for 458 SOCOM. You are going to beat up an AR-15. You will feel the fragility of a AR-15 if you shoot 458 SOCOM out of it. If you do intend to do that, you should really just do yourself a favor, save yourself the headache, and when you buy the components, buy a couple extra heavier buffers and some extra power springs just so that you can play with it and try to get it. You should probably also make sure that when you build it, it has one of those Superlative Arms adjustable gas blocks on it. Just saying. I don't have no experience with 460 Roland. Is that the pistol cartridge? Is that the one that goes in? I'm not sure on that one. I'm a little bit confused on that one right this second. Let's come back to it. Thank you. Somebody says, thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for being here, and thank you for putting me where I am. I would not have any of what I have without you guys. So I have the ability to stand here and say those things because you guys have put me in that position. So somebody says 450 Bushmaster. I love 450 Bushmaster. It's a great cartridge. The only problem with 450 Bushmaster is it's not drop-in. You have to buy a specific upper receiver or an upper receiver that is milled or reliefed for that cartridge, because that casing is too big to get out of the ejection port reliably. So that's just one thing that you have to consider. You will also need an extra power spring for that thing, likely. I just so happen to have an upper receiver downstairs that it is unfired currently, but we are going to see if we can't destroy it. Manufacturer will remain unnamed for this time being, but we're going to hook it up to the machine gun and run it wide open, because I want to try to melt a can that I am told is rated for unlimited 450 Bushmaster full auto. No barrel restriction, no velocity restriction, no round count restriction, no fire rate restriction. So I'm excited about that one. Now, you'll have to place your bets, though, boys and girls. Will the rifle die before the can? Who knows? 7.62 by 39 is a great cartridge. Somebody asked 7.62 by 39. Not my choice for an AR. The biggest problem with ARs and 7.62 by 39 is the magazine reliability. That has recently been fixed. I've done a little bit of playing with the C products, the Duramag. They redid some of the workings of the 7.62 by 39 magazine. The biggest problem with 7.62 by 39 is it was never designed to run in a gun designed like the AR-15. The AR-15 was retrofitted to run with 7.62 by 39. That's the major difference. So 7.62 by 39 is a great cartridge. Still not as versatile, though, as your 300 Blackout, which was specifically designed to run in an AR-15. Let's see. Somebody says, why get 300 Blackout when 7.62 by 39 is a proven round? I just addressed that. It's not designed, the AR-15 was never designed to run that. And the 7.62 by 39 cartridge is proven in the AK-47. It is not proven in the AR-15, and in fact, its track record is pretty crappy in the AR-15. There have been some recent fixes, again, from Duramag, that have brought it up to what we consider, what I would consider modern standards. However, it is still a tapered cartridge that has a rim on it that's going in a direct impingement gun. Just saying, you're going to have some issues regardless, just because. One of the reasons that the AK-47 is so successful is the 7.62 by 39 round, and because of the way the cams lock and the taper locks into the headspace, that makes that gun very excellent at unlocking reliably because of the taper. So that ties into it. It's not just because of that, but it's also overgassed and things like that. So the extra can just vent when the piston passes the first port. There are lots of things that are built into the design that make it reliable. Don't get me wrong. The AR-15 has some of those things stacked against it when you talk about 7.62 by 39. The other thing I will say is good luck taking an AR-15 that is designed to run 7.62 by 39 and try to run subs out of it. Pretty much, if you've got it gassed to run subs, it'll run subs and supers. If you've got it to run, or in 300 Blackout, excuse me, if you've got a gun that's in 300 Blackout and it's gassed to run subs, and you throw supers in it, it will shoot them just fine, even suppressed. But if you try that vice versa with a 7.62 by 39 gun, you're likely to damage the gun. I'm not going to address, I don't know where Don Numbers went. I'm not sure where he's at right now. I have not spoken to him. I'm not going to address that issue. I don't want to, it's not my business. I don't want to dig into that whatsoever. I don't know any of the details. I just saw that he left. I have not spoken to him directly either, or James for that matter. I have not spoken to either party. I don't know what the heck happened. It's not my business. You guys will have to figure that out for yourself. Sorry, just not going there. What's your opinions on PDWs? They're awesome. Who doesn't love personal defense weapons? Come on. Are you getting an ODS 1775 from Occam Defense? Maybe. We may or may not be doing some testing on the gun. I will tell you this, I do not currently have one in my arsenal. However, I do believe that it is scheduled to happen. It's just we don't have a definite date for it to happen. I'm very excited. I was one of the first people to see it in action when he did his official announcement and said he was going to start building them in mass quantities. I have talked to Brian at Occam Defense probably weekly for the last 9 months, and it's been great. I've learned a lot about the platform. I've learned a lot about life in general. He's a very smart person. He's one of the people that I call when I need to talk to another smart person. So I'm very confident that his guns are going to come to market and they're going to be freaking awesome. I can't wait to get one and burn it up. So burn it up by shooting ammunition through it. Okay. Disclaimer. We will not be melting an Occam Defense gun with a torch. Okay. Just for anybody who missed the point of that video and did not watch the whole video and just saw the title and freaked out on me. You clearly missed the point of that video. You should go back and watch it. Somebody says, I just saw it and the thing jumped. Oh, here we go. Anything over 8 inches will give you full powder burn. Not true. Sorry. That's a little bit old on the information. I'm going to go ahead and plug him here, and I don't think he'll mind. Mr. Guns and Gear put out a video just maybe a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago about this, where he literally went out and did the work for you. So go watch the video. He's got a lot of information out on that thing. It's a very, very well done video with real concrete data. And the bottom line is that whole anything over 8 inches will give you full powder burn thing is not accurate. It may have been when the cartridge came out. And this is a thing in the gun industry where, in the gun culture, where somebody will say something and the marketing will come out for something and then people will run with it and it'll permeate and it just becomes kind of like gospel speak. Oftentimes, those things are not accurate in the least. There may be a grain of truth to them, but a lot of times they get extrapolated out with unknown data. And it's just simply not the truth. At least in 2019, with the breadth of ammunition that is being produced for 300 Blackout, you may need more than an 8-inch barrel to get the full performance. You still can milk some out of it by going with a longer barrel than an 8-inch barrel. Just putting that out there. Is it better to just go get just buy a 308 instead of converting an AR to 300 Blackout? One, a 300 Blackout is just a barrel change, just an FYI. So you can literally have a shorty AR pistol or an SBR and push the pins and have a different upper on the thing. And that's the way I suggest people do them if they want to kind of like cheap out a little bit and not do the full build. The difference between the two is the ammunition is relatively the same cost for 300 Blackout and 308. So that's a factor. But the components for a 308 are much more expensive. So I'm actually looking at this for a potential project that we're talking about. And there's a reason why 308s don't cost $500. And you just have to look at the parts, see them, look at what goes into them. That is not, it's just not as cut and dry as it is with a 300 Blackout gun. That said, they're also very difficult to run. So there's very, very fine nuances in how you cut the gas port, what kind of gas block you use, what carrier weights and all that sort of stuff that you use. what kind of carrier you're using. All of the above goes into play when you're talking about using especially a shorty 308. So keep that in mind. There's a lot that goes into the 308 that if you're not super experienced, I highly suggest that you just don't go there. Buy a complete gun on a 308. That's for sure. Let's see. Somebody says, waiting for my ODS 1775 like a child before Christmas. Yeah, me too. Right. I'm trying to get Brian to do full auto testing on his guns too. I'm trying to make sure, I'm trying to get him to do it. I was like, you can get to your 10,000 mark so much faster. It says the devil on your shoulder named Curtis. You should totally do that, Brian. But also integral to that testing is if you have any open event, if there are any open to the public events that are out there that Brian will be attending with the guns, part of that, we have discussed this, him and I, that one of those events are used by manufacturers to get the round counts up on their guns, on the semi-automatic ones that they're testing. Usually, at least in what I've seen, is usually a company will make 1 or 2 machine guns that they will just absolutely shoot the ever-living piss out of. And then they'll have semi-auto ones that they'll take machine guns too, but a lot of times they'll have the semi-auto ones hanging out. They use your trigger finger to help them do the testing, because coming from somebody who has done 5,000, 10,000 round testing for people, it is not fun. Okay. It sounds like a good idea at the start of the day or the start of the week, and it is not a good time after you're done. You can only do one of them ever so often before you are just done. So outsourcing it to lots of shoulders and lots of trigger fingers is a very viable way to do it. So if you have an opportunity to go to open events like that where people are presenting their new guns, definitely suggest it, even if there's a cover charge to get in or something like that. Somebody says, what can is that? I don't know what you're referencing. Sorry. Oh, crap. Thing just updated. Sorry, guys. CMG Mutant. Heard it's awesome. It is awesome. We have a video out on the Gen 2 of the Mutant. I forget what the actual designation of that is. That is not technically an AR-15. I don't consider it an AR-15 because it's not an AR-15. It's an AR-10 that has been designed to take the original feeding device for the 7.62x39 round, which is the AK-47 magazine. So it is literally an AR-10. If you look at it, it is beefed up and built up. The bolt is based on an AR-10 bolt. And that is, again, one of the vital differences, that the AR-10 can be much beefier for that gun, for that cartridge. And when I wish I had one right here. Did it? No. I usually have an SBR right there. And unfortunately it's in for cleaning right now. So it's not there for me to demonstrate, but they the bolt face has a lot more meat on it. So when you got that steel case versus that steel bolt hitting, it's a lot harder to chip a piece of it off or something like that. So that's vital for your 7.62x39 guns as well. So the Mutant's absolutely awesome gun. Love that gun. I don't have one. Unfortunately, the sample that came in, Doc called dibs on, and he actually bought it. So he liked it enough that he bought it. Typically, the way this kind of stuff will work is we'll bring a gun in for testing, and a lot of the times it'll go back to the manufacturer for analysis, but then they'll be like, hey, do you want it? And they might cut you a deal on it. Basically, hey, we can't really use this for anything else now that it's been to the VSO range. It's absolutely like destroyed inside. Do you guys want to buy it for like pennies on the dollar? And sometimes the gun's cool enough where somebody will be like, yeah, I'll take that. It might need like new springs or something like that, and they'll just put those in it and run. So that was the situation with the Gen 2 Mutant. We shot the piss out of it and then sent it back for analysis. When they were done analyzing, they're like, hey, yeah, we really can't send this to anybody else. Would you like it? And Doc absolutely bought it. So Can you make a video of you reacting to comments on leftist news videos? I don't watch really much news at all, so I don't know how I would do that. I definitely don't watch leftist news. Yeah, I don't. I'm going to say no. There ain't enough time in the day for that sort of stuff. The bottom line is, you can figure out where I'm at on any issue pretty easily. Does it influence the 2A? If it does, you know my principles, and you can pretty much guess my position on it based on that. So if somebody's saying anything, we've heard all the arguments that they can make against us time and time again. There's nothing new coming out. they're just going a little bit crazy. It's actually kind of refreshing that they've stopped lying about their positions on things, which makes it a little bit easier for us. At least they're being honest about it now. Hey, can I be a mod? I watch your videos. I'd like to be a mod. I don't know what that means. Sorry. I don't know what being a mod of this would be. Real quick, Hunter's Moon X Grim says, get yourself a cheap beer, my brother. Gave me $2. That's awesome. You are awesome, sir. I will actually go drink a beer. So anybody who follows like Instagram, for instance, I work out a fair amount, and I was doing the keto thing for a little while, and my numbers started to like really tank. So my weight went down, but then like my bench press dropped below 300 pounds. So I'm like, that's unacceptable. My squat dropped below the abysmal level of 350 pounds as well. So I was pretty upset about that. So I actually added some back. My diet's a little bit more, it's still pretty low, but it's a little bit more balanced now. So I will absolutely have a beer on you later tonight. There may even be some leftover from the last time Bacon was here. Bacon is like allergic to beer, some beers. And the other thing he's allergic to is gin. And he'll take Benadryl and then go drink gin. And I just don't understand that. Like, that's weird. That's like, I'm allergic to bees. I'm going to help foster the bee population, and that person goes out who's allergic to bees and has like 50 hives in their backyard. I just don't even understand that stuff. Somebody says, have you done anything with the mid-sized AR platforms, 308 size magwell, AR sized, everything else? No, I haven't. That's interesting to me. That 308 size magwell, AR-15 size, everything else. Wow, that's interesting. I have not. It would be very interesting to see what those do in like a really short barrel, because one of the things that sucks about 308s is the long barrel, super whippy, and that can cause some rattling inside the gun. So it would be interesting to have a really shorty with like the mid-size stuff, and it would be pretty cool to see if that has the same kind of thing that would potentially break parts. So I don't know. I have not done that. So my question would be, what is the lifespan on that sort of stuff? Because we are talking about a lot of pressure. And if you look at the lugs and things like that on like AR-10s, they are beefed up a little bit. So I would be interested to see how long it takes to destroy one, to be honest. An old video, you had a YHM 30 cal titanium can on an AK. Do you recommend that can? I have a chance at one for a bargain. Yeah, the YHM cans, I haven't tested one in a long period of time. It was the YHM Phantom titanium, and I like their attachment system. It's got a like a tooth system at the back. You basically spin the thing until it locks into place. It's a little bit, what I would say, dated as far as the attachment system is concerned, but I would say that it probably locks up just as good as, probably not as good as like the dead air mounts, but I mean, it's probably just as good as some of the things that are out there from like Gemtech or anything like that. So I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with that one. The thing about that is that I want to address is the putting on the AK thing. I want to guess, and I haven't gone back and looked at it, I want to guess that was an American-made AK. concentricity in the bore threading is really, really important on that stuff. Make sure that they are concentric, or shim it to make it concentric, and Loctite, or not Loctite, rock set the crap out of it. If you have a problem, you got to be really, really careful with that. Almost to the point where I suggest that you move up to a robust 9mm can to be able to handle that some of those AK rounds, because especially if you're putting it on a European import, you might think about a 9mm can on your 7.62 gun that is built properly to handle that kind of pressure, because sometimes it can be iffy and you can get baffle strikes that way, and I don't want you to destroy your can. So if you're planning on running on an AK, make sure you check that. Just a disclaimer. Any new calibers that you plan to get into? I currently really want to get into 6.5 Creedmoor. I really like that one. I have a 350 Legend bolt action rifle downstairs that I really like. It's a Ruger product, so even though it's a Ruger product, it's a fairly good, fairly stout rifle. It's nice and light, which I do like. So the question will be whether that caliber survives the snafu with Winchester or not. I'm not entirely sure. Time will tell on that. I do like it suppressed though. So I'm really only interested in calibers that I can suppress. I've become a complete suppressor snob, so if I can't suppress it, I'm probably not going to buy a gun in it. I do enough shooting already that I am really freaking tired of wearing something on my head. And when I come back from the range, I have to put these on to do the editing. So it's just really like, any chance I get to shoot a firearm that doesn't require something on my head is going to be a chance that I take. So I almost shoot almost all of my recreational shooting happens suppressed. I even have a suppressed pistol that I use for like shooting the groundhogs on the range now. Like I don't even screw around with that anymore. So somebody said, crap, where did it go? Somebody asked, did you run a can on the Mutant that you tested? Yes, I did. I think we ran 2 different cans. That video is published. You should be able to just look up like Mutant Gen 2 or something like that on the channel, and you should find that just fine. Right above that, though, is the one I was looking for. Is brass ejection pattern an accurate measurement of how the system is gassed? Yes and no. If you're running crap ammo, then no. If you're running Wolf, and that's not even fair, if you're running inconsistent ammo, then no, you are not going to get a consistent pattern out of inconsistent ammo. However, if you go get a box of like Fiocchi Match or something like that, and they're spraying them all over the place, then yeah, you may have a gassing issue in your gun if you've got erratic ejection. Typically, though, what that is indicative of is not necessarily poor gassing, but you might have some parts that are wearing. They may be on different parts of the spectrum, especially gas rings. Your gas rings, if they're brand spanking new, you're going to have a different ejection pattern at brand spanking new first round versus brand spanking new like 100 rounds. Okay, you should be able to see those that pattern shift a little bit. So you have to keep that in mind. When they're worn out, it'll throw brass all over the place. Just an FYI. And as the gun gets dirty, it's going to change. So it's not the best indicator. The best indicator you have right here on whether it's gassing. Put this thing on the fastest slow-mo that your phone will do. Okay, this one's a 7. So it'll do, I think 240 at 720. That's sufficient. What are the new phones doing now, guys? Because I'm looking to get a new one. So if there's ones out there that are faster than that, I want to know. But do that, and you can record it, and you can literally see whether that bolt hits the back of the receiver or not. That's what it comes down to. If that bolt is coming back and smacks the receiver, then you're overgassed. If you If it's coming back and, for instance, not locking back on the last round consistently, but still stripping them off, it may be a little bit short on the gas. So what you want is, and what it really took for me to understand this, is to shoot an open bolt machine gun. If you watch somebody shoot an open bolt machine gun, they'll shoot, and usually the first round they'll go like this, and the gun they'll shoot low because they'll be ready for the full auto, and then the gun will rise, and then after the gun runs out of ammo, you'll see them go like this. And that's not because they're pulling down on the gun, it's because the bolt slams home on the trunnion. In an open bolt machine gun, the round never, usually, again, this is absolute statements are almost certainly, or almost always not absolute, but usually on an open bolt machine gun, the bolt never actually contacts the front trunnion. You don't want that to happen. That system is reversed in a closed bolt. What you don't want is that bolt to hit what would essentially be the rear trunnion of the gun at the back. You want it to be in motion constantly and never actually contact anything at the back. And then you want it to come back forward. So if this is the back of the receiver, you want the carrier to come back, come short, and then back forward. You want a consistent like that. You don't want. And what really taught me that was shooting open bolt machine guns, because they never actually hit the front trunnion, except for a really good example of one that does do that is the Thompson. It has what's called a Blish lock in it. And what they didn't realize at the time is that you didn't need to actually lock lock guns closed. So it actually does lock, but subsequent iterations of the guns of the technology don't do that. So Halo Defense, thank you for the super chat, my friend. Very much appreciated for keeping us running. The numbers are still up, so we're going to keep on going. I was only planning on doing this for an hour, but man, I tell you what, I'm having a good time. So drinking gin is like drinking Pine Sol. Freaking bacon. Let's see. Oh boy, we just had a huge update on the chat here. Sorry, guys. Have you had a chance to try the new K&S gas piston? I have not. The only ones that I have seen it in are the ODS guns. I've seen it in my hands, like I've held one, but I've never put one in an AK. I would really like to do that. I did contact K&S about it, and they were just so popular. I think that they just kind of got bogged down. They never sent me one. So I would love to do it. I think it's a great opportunity to kind of breathe new life into the AK, because AKs are down right now, unfortunately. I'm a Soviet junkie, so I love that stuff. So it's sad to me to see AKs kind of going downhill. And really what has happened is AKs rose. They've always kind of been in the background, but they rose in popularity when the price of an AR went through the roof, because they became unobtainium in the Obama era. So they kind of filled that niche. Well, now that we've had a price inversion, so now you pay more for an AK than you pay for an AR. So that's really what's killing them right now. Something big needs to happen, like the ODS 7075. Can you tell I'm a fan? Kimber 1911 opinions. Sell it to a friend you don't like. Sorry. I've seen nothing but problems here. Guys, I've seen nothing but problems with those guns. Every single one of them. Sorry. I've never seen one that has just been 100% reliable. There's always been something. Any tips for removing muzzle devices with Rockset? Yeah, get a propane torch. One of the little you can get the little, they're like this cylindrical. Okay, they're like the thickness of an iPhone cylindrical. And they're probably about that tall. Sorry, probably my forearm tall. And then you just get there's a little spout on the end of it. Get one of those, and then you can heat up the muzzle device right there at the back, and then that will be enough temperature to allow you to break it loose. You don't want to go after that without heat. Rockset is good to, I believe, 1500 degrees, but with anything, that's its molten point. So even though aluminum and steel don't melt at much higher temperatures than that, they still lose some of their structural integrity below that point. And usually for metals, what we say, and this is not a hard and fast rule, that about half of its melting point is when it starts to lose some serious structural integrity. So, or some serious strength. So keep that in mind. Same thing goes with things like rock set, but you aren't going to be able to do it with a lighter. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I have one, and man, I tell you what, as much as I use the damn thing every week, and I've been on the same cylinder for like 3 years. Okay, so get one of those. It'll last you forever. Get a little striker. You'll probably, in fact, here's a good one. I've gone to lighting it with a lighter because I wore out the flint on my striker before and I'm too lazy. I just haven't got it. It's like, this thing doesn't work. Throw it in the corner, and then I'll find it a couple of years from now, like when I'm sweeping or something like that. That's how I use it again every week, but that's how much that will do you for removing a muzzle device. And it works great for other things too. It really does. Now, it's not hot like an oxyacetylene torch, so you don't have to really worry about like damaging aluminum components or anything like that. But it does do really good for removing that rock set and things like that. Also great for removing things like red Loctite and green Vibertite. I think we beat the OSS thing to death. There was a big post about it on my pages. I basically, they contacted me. I said, hey, I want to, yeah, I'd love to send them my terms of service. They said, no, we're not going to play by those rules. I said, okay. I made a post about it. They said they didn't want to pay my rates, and that's why they didn't do it. I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. Go ahead and publish that on the internet. Not a big deal. My audience knows that I get paid to test guns and stuff. Not a big deal. You either have integrity or you don't. And that's just the way it goes. So they kind of made an ass out of themselves on the internet and basically called me a liar. So I basically told them, hey guys, you can consider your invitation rescinded. So unfortunately, unless some major personnel changes occur at OSS, that's just not going to happen. Sorry. Impugning my integrity is not okay. Sorry. It's just not okay. And really, if you go back and read the posts, you can see it. And I have screenshots of them too, if they took them down. They basically just wanted to pay to get a fluff review is what it comes down to. And I don't do that. I just absolutely do not do that. All the video that you guys see is cut from some kind of testing. And if it's not cut from testing, if I'm trying to sell you something, I'm going to tell you up front. Okay, that's just the way it is. I don't think we're under any illusions here that sometimes I got to sell stuff to make a little bit of cheddar. Okay, like to pay off certain things. I might have to go sell you something that I think is cool, that that may be worth your money. You may not think it is, and you may not buy it, but in an opportunity to try to move to the next level on something that happens from time to time, and I'm absolutely transparent with you guys. If you see an affiliate link for anything, that's me telling you I'm getting paid to rep this thing. Okay. And most of the time, to be honest, it's not a whole lot of money, but it might be enough to, like, say, for instance, in 2020, I'm probably going to have to hire my wife to handle a new endeavor that I've got going on. And to be able to do that, I needed to make a couple extra $100 a month. So not a big deal. You saw some affiliate links come out last, month or so. And that was my response to that. It's not a super huge amount of money that would make me go out and lie for somebody on something, right? Every man has their price. Let's just be honest with that. Okay. Everybody should be honest with themselves. Everybody has their price. And I've thought long and hard about what mine is. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys what it is really quick, because I think this does it really, really well. Okay. If you want me to lie for you, you need to be offering me this kind of money. I want enough where I can go buy a yacht and an island and an anti-aircraft gun so that we can take out the elevation control. And I want to be able to take every week 100 of my closest friends out and shell the the island all day. And then by night, we will go into the island and we will harvest the critters that we killed during the day, during the shelling, and we will have a feast. That needs to be able to happen on a weekly basis. If you're not offering that kind of money, I'm not interested in lying for you. Sorry, that's what it comes down to. Is this the James Yeager chat? I don't know what that means. Sorry. James and I are friends, but I don't know what that means. He has my cell phone number. I have his. Haven't talked to him in a little bit. I really don't know what that comment means. Best red dot site for those of us with bad astigmatism. Brother, I am so sorry. I don't have astigmatism. I don't know. So I can't tell you. My wife doesn't have super great eyesight though. And she seems to really she hates the RMR. I'm going to throw that out there. She seems to really gravitate towards either. She really liked the SRS, although it's a heavy bitch, just throwing that out there. And she really also likes the primary arms, the little primary arms sight, the like the $120 one, whatever that one is, the one with the 2 buttons on top. And she doesn't seem to mind the Hollow Sun either. So the Hollow Sun product is fine. That's what's actually riding on one of her rifles right now is a Hollow Sun. So she doesn't seem to mind that one either. But the RMR, for instance, she does not like that one because it's just there's too much going on in such a small space. She really hated it on the pistol, by the way. You can see that in the what's the Canic with the slide cut or with the cut for the optic, the long slide. I can't remember off the top of my head. That one, she really hated the RMR on that. I have not put her in front of an MRO yet. Me personally, I have there's a little bit of shift for me that I can detect, but it doesn't seem to influence my shooting any. I can just detect that it's there. So take that for the few cents that it's worth, but that's something you should be aware of as well. So let's see. You should call your island Fort Kickass. Yeah, that would be great. That would be excellent. Maybe that's what I need. I need a big enough island that we can shell part of it and then build an encampment on the other side of the thing for the wild orgies that we're going to have. That's what needs to happen. So basically what that means is that I'm setting my mind now. So we got to have enough money for that to happen. So don't tell me that you wouldn't lie for that kind of money too. Just throwing that out there. I have not played with the Leupold product for the red dot. I will tell you that we have played with the Burris product, and we've broken every single one of them that's ever been here. So I don't have anybody at Burris. I don't know anybody at Burris. I don't have anything against Burris. I'm just being truthful that we've broken a lot of their stuff. So I'm not sure if it's called the Cyclops. I'm not going to open a separate window to go look at it. It's the $120 red dot from Primary Arms. I'm not sure what it is. Yeah. So here's the thing about the. I'm a natural contrarian. Somebody asked about the Magpul backup iron sights. I'm a natural contrarian, so whatever's hot and hip, or mainstream, that's just not my thing. So I don't have anything against the Magpul polymer sights, the Embus sights. Okay, I don't have anything against those. And the Embus Pros, I think that they were a significant upgrade. I don't have anything against that stuff, but because they've become so mainstream, I want a metal sight. Okay, I want metal sights on there. So I really gravitate towards the two that I have been running most recently are the Midwest Industry sights. We'll probably do a dedicated video on their fixed rear and front sights here pretty soon. And then also the XS product, also a metal sight. Those sets together are running about 150 bucks-ish, just an FYI, but they're metal. So I'm kind of into the metal sights thing. So I also don't like the shape. The profile is really big on the IMBA sights. Just throwing that out there. But let's see. Somebody says this island's sounding better and better all the time. Yep. Well, if I make it there, I'll make sure that we run through the entire subscriber list before we go dark and we just don't do content anymore. And when I'm making that kind of money, yeah, absolutely. We'll do that for you guys. We'll make sure that you all get a trip to the island. And it won't be one of those weird Clinton Islands either. Just saying that right off the bat. We're not doing that. So 350 Legend or 450 Bushmaster for whitetail. I have not personally shot a whitetail with 350 Legend, so I cannot remark on this. However, I have friends who have. Just throwing that out there. What I am going to tell you is that 350 Legend suppresses much better than 450 Bushmaster. Does it kill deer? Probably. I mean, we've shot deer out here with 357 Magnum, and it knocks them dead. We've shot them with 44 Special. Whitetail deer really are they're better than caribou, because caribou is about as wimpy as you get in the deer family. I don't understand how an animal that can live in such a just terrible climate can be so flimsy. I mean, you need to look no further than that one show where you've got the woman who's shooting with the Mosin and she can't hit anything worth a damn, and she like basically hits the thing in the leg and it like dies. It's ridiculous. I watched a dude put a really crappy arrow shot on one and it knocked it down. So, digression, sorry, but whitetail are more robust than caribou, but they're really not like an elk. Okay, they're still pretty wimpy. So it doesn't take a whole lot if the shot placement is correct on an animal to take it down. You don't need these crazy ballistic effects to take down a whitetail. Ohio is catered a lot towards bow hunters. Thousands and thousands of deer are killed with bows every single year, and your shot placement doesn't even have to be that great with an arrow. So really, what I will tell you about 350 Legend is it is going to have more range than the 450 Bushmaster. We've pushed 450 to about 300-ish yards, and we've done, I think, 350 on the 350 Legend. But we know that it has more. With no correction whatsoever, we were able to hit the big plate. Go watch our video on 350 Legend where we take it out to range, and you can see the metric by which we use to kind of gauge the range of the caliber. And we didn't do any adjustment on the thing whatsoever, and we were able to hit the big plate at 300 yards with 350 Legend. So again, I'm sorry that's a non-answer. I know that both calibers will kill deer. It's just how you want to do it, and if you're going to suppress it. I know that 450 Bushmaster unsuppressed is very loud and is also very heavy on the recoil. 350 Legend, less recoil, also suppresses better. I'm kind of running the middle because, to be honest, I'm probably going to borrow somebody's gun this year anyway. Any possibility on the Romeo Zero? Is that a SIG product? Didn't I talk about SIG products already? I think that's a SIG product. Sorry. Again, I don't have any contacts at SIG. I mean, there's been multiple inquiries from SIG. I'll put my people on it and see what we can come up with. But a lot of times, I'll just be honest with you guys, a lot of the times companies hear from people that they see as social media people, and they don't want legit testing done on their guns or their product. So if you see something here, then that person absolutely wanted us to test their product. And a lot of people just want fluff done on their stuff, and we just don't do that here. Let's see. Have you heard about the Genesis Arms Gen 12 semi-automatic AR-10 pattern shotguns? This sounds really familiar. I said that I wasn't going to do this, but I'm going to open another window really quick because I want to make sure that these are not the same things that are happening. I have seen these. Yes, I have. I have not fired one. I would like to, they can contact me. I will put actually, I'm going to put that on my list of send my people over to find those, because I really like automatic shotguns, but you have to remember one thing, guys. There's a reason why mainstream hasn't moved past the tube-fed shotgun, and that is the cheap ammunition that you produce with a plastic hull. Plastic hulled ammunition is not very conducive to magazine feeding, is the bottom line. You get a little bit better when you go to drums, but ultimately, straight magazine-fed shotguns, you have to be really selective. The camera did a weird thing on the focus. You have to be super selective of your magazines. You need to take every single magazine out there and shoot like 15 rounds through it with the ammo that you plan to shoot out, and make sure that the gun is reliable. Because, man, I tell you what, semi-automatic shotguns feeding from magazines can be very painful. Just saying. Somebody says, does he really need a sonic cleaner for a suppressor? Depends. So if you want to clean, so here's the thing. If it's an aluminum suppressor, no. Do not put your aluminum suppressors in your ultrasonic cleaner. You will destroy them. One, don't do that. It's bad for them. I don't think I have a video out on this, but it's bad for your suppressors. It creates microchanneling in the aluminum. It's bad for them. It has to do with the way the aluminum atoms stack. They can be excited with sonic waves, and they can jostle around, create cracks in your stuff. Not a good thing. If you have a non-user serviceable 30 cal can, absolutely you should have one of those. Like if you buy a titanium can or a stainless steel can, or like the energetic arms can is a welded baffle can that that is a non-user serviceable, but the thing's made out of merging alloy that's welded together. Is probably the strongest can that's out there. Yeah, you're going to need an ultrasonic cleaner to get inside there. After about 30,000 rounds, you're going to need to do that. If you don't plan to shoot 30,000 rounds between now and when you die, then piss off on the ultrasonic cleaner. You don't really need to clean them. In fact, cans are gonna there's a sweet spot after about 5,000 rounds to about 25,000 rounds is when they sound the best, and once they get dirtied up. So once they get super dirty and they live in that space for a while, as long as it's not really constricting the volume or the flow in the can, the gunk that builds up in there, that can is going to sound better after about 5,000 rounds than it's going to sound new. So it's better to leave them dirty. If you've got a 22 can, you will absolutely need to clean that thing, and it's made out of aluminum. You can't use an ultrasonic cleaner. But if you have something like the USS, for instance, my suggested 22 can from Bowers Group, it's a stainless steel can. I throw that son of a bitch in the ultrasonic cleaner all the time because, again, 22 ammo is very, very dirty and it builds up really quick. 22 cans are also very low volume, so you have to clean them more than, say, a 30 caliber can. So it really depends on what cans you have. Let's see. What is your favorite suppressor and caliber? That would be unfair because it depends on the caliber what my favorite suppressor is, you know? So like, for instance, if it's 22, I really love the Bowers USS. It's, in my opinion, the best 22 can that's out there. I haven't tested them all, but does anybody ever catch all the Pokemon? I don't know about you. I've done several playthroughs and I've never captured all the Pokemon. So I probably never shoot all the 22 cans, but in my sampling, I think that one's pretty darn good. If it's a 30 caliber can, I'm going to have to lean away from Bowers Group a little bit because I do like them, but I think there's some extra functionality to be had in something like the dead air products or companies that use dead air products like the Energetic Arms can that use the chemo mount. So I think there's a lot to be said for that. The 9mm area, I'd have to say, well, you know, Rugged's doing a pretty darn good job on the Obsidian 45. It's one of the only cans that true 45 dry cans out there that won't blow your eardrums out. I think it's a pretty darn good can. But if it's for a pistol or if it's for an SMG, I may not use that can. I'd probably go back to Bowers and use something like the 9S or the ASP, specifically because it just really depends on the caliber that you choose and what you want out of that caliber, and what you want the suppressor to do. So my favorite caliber is 22 to shoot suppress, because I literally have a gun that I shoot off my back porch. I put a target out there 200 yards and I can shoot subsonic 22 ammo down there to 200 yards, and the neighbors don't even look up from their porch when I do it. Awesome. Same thing with subsonic 300 Blackout. Those are my two favorite. Now, if I had to do like utility cartridge, probably 300 Blackout, just because I can do so much with it. Let's see. Yeah, stainless cans great for ultrasonic cleaners. Absolutely. Have you had good results suppressing 350 Legend with pistol suppressors, or do you need a large bore rifle can to make it work? It needs to be 9mm diameter. Okay, it needs to be a 9mm diameter can or greater. But in my opinion, it should not be something like a Silencer Co. product. It should be a more robust can than that. So my suggestion is, I actually did our video with the Bowers 375. I'm probably going to do a dedicated video on the 375 because it does such a good job. Here's the thing. The 375 is also rated for 338 lapua Magnum. Okay, you're not going to have a problem with that can. So again, a 9mm silencer, like just a one that's designed to go on a pistol, is going to be overpowered by 350 Legend. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm concerned that people are going out there and they're reading the branding from people like Winchester, who are ammunition manufacturers, and to be honest, not even very good ammunition manufacturers. Sorry, just being real here for a second. They're doing extrapolations on unknown data on something like a silencer that they don't know a whole lot about, and they're telling people that you can run a 9mm suppressor. And yes, you probably can, but my concern is that we're going to start seeing catastrophic failures a couple years from now on people running 9mm suppressors that were designed for their pistols, with things like 350 Legend, especially some of the hotter rounds that are out there for 350 Legend. Not suggested. You should really look at a little bit more robust can. Just saying. Let's see, where are we at here? Love the beard. Thank you, Kimmy. My wife likes it short like this too. I like to keep it a little bit short this time of year, just because it's hot outside, and because I don't have the jacket that's wrapping around like this. It's really nice to have it longer in the wintertime because it keeps me insulated. But if it gets super long, it gets caught in gun stocks, and especially the CTR, man, I tell you what, that's one of the reasons I use the Mission First stocks, because they don't have that one doohickey right there that catches my face fuzz. It does a pretty good job. So let's see. I want to make a new sport involving dummy rifle grenades. Would you say an adjustable gas block is a necessity, or will a normal carbine gas system be fine? You should really probably, to be honest, you should probably run an adjustable gas block. You don't want to, the back pressure is going to be really high on that. You're more likely, you're not going to hurt yourself, is what I'm going to say. You're probably not going to hurt yourself, but you might want to have the opportunity to shut the gas off. One, if you're doing it all day long, you're likely to hurt yourself. Just, I mean, it depends what we're talking. If you only do like 3 revolutions, 5 revolutions of the thing, probably not. But if you're going to go out there and shoot 1,500 rifle grenades from your shoulder, it's probably a bad idea. So adjustable gas block would be good to turn that thing off. But more importantly, I'm thinking about your gun going down in the middle of the competition. Probably not a good idea. It might be good for you to not break the components of your gun. So it may be good to either gas it down or to shut it off completely. So Rugged Obsidian 45 on the 350 Legend provided provided suppression or a good opportunity to test warranty. Sounds like a warranty longer term. I'm not sure what that means, but we never tested it. I would say that it's probably okay. The only concern I would have is I think that I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm gonna have to look this up. Does the rugged have an aluminum tube? I know the end cap's aluminum. I'm gonna have to look this up really quick. I know the baffles themselves are stainless, but we have to concern ourselves with the tube. I've not done, yeah. So the tube is made of 6061 or no, wait a minute. Tube is made of 7075. So I would say probably not something I would do. It's thick enough that it's probably okay, but my concern is there's no blast baffle. So the baffles are kind of all the same size. They're just one and it's a different shape at the base of each stack. And my concern would be that it could damage it long term. I'm going to add that to my list. I'm going to send a question to my people at Rugged and see what they say and if they want us to test it. I might, in fact, even say we should probably be definitive and full auto test it, which means I should probably call CMMG and get an upper in here so that we can run to full auto, and I'll just put it on my ballistic advantage lower, and we'll get some ammo in. See if we can. This might be a real thing. I'm serious about this one. I'm putting it on my list right now to send a message to Rugged. We're gonna try that one. See what they say. If they say, yeah, we're gonna rate it for it, then we're absolutely gonna do that. So yes, thank you guys for looking that up for me. We're not going to talk about the Boogaloo. Yeah, I think that would be a fun full auto test. But anyway, we've been doing this for an hour and 41 minutes. This has been a great chat. I've had a great time talking to you guys. If you guys have any more questions, just like any other live show that we do, go ahead and post them right now. I'll go through the thing one more time, and then we'll break it off. Again, I always have a good time doing these live shows because and I always say this, if you watch a video on our channel, I try my best as the editor to make it one of the most information dense or not action, that's probably I'm gotten kind of fat. Action's not really a good word. There's a lot going on in a typical video. You're not going to sit there and watch me sit at a bench and shoot a gun for 20 minutes. If you're going to watch a 15-minute video, it's probably going to be the most intensive 15 minutes on that topic that you're going to watch. That's important to me. Because of that, everything is so produced. Okay, like I tell people that I have 2 to 3 hours, sometimes more, per edited minute that you guys watch. So it's really fun for me to be able to just turn the damn camera on and just talk to you guys, because everything that I do all the time, even though I'm a complete jackass in front of the camera, a lot of it, one, may get cut for time, and then two, may get cut for technical reasons because I might have completely screwed something up. So it's cool for me to be able to just be me on the internet and show you guys that I don't just play a character on the internet. This is me all the time. And I think that live is really fun in that. So I don't mind if I screw up. I'm not perfect. And like I said in the meltdown video for my response to the mass shootings that occurred, you guys should absolutely go watch that video and give it a thumbs up for all the people who didn't watch it and had a knee-jerk reaction about it. You don't learn anything if you don't fail. And this, my failure rate on live shows is quite high. I get called on things all the time, and that's just how I roll. So again, thank you guys for joining in. It was a lot of fun, and I didn't see any more questions, and maybe it just hasn't updated. Yeah, it looks like nothing else came in. So again, thank you guys for joining me the whole time, and hopefully we'll see you guys on a future live stream. If you have any collabs that you would like to see us do with people, absolutely hit those people up. I would love to collab with just about anybody out there in the gun tuber sphere, with a few exceptions out there of people that I don't agree with, who don't have 2A principles. That's really the only criteria that I hold tight to my chest. You have to have 2A principles. I would love to work with you. I missed again. Oh my gosh. Terrible at this game. Gotta be freaking kidding me.